All right, we back with another daily reflection on the Daily Vedantic. If you've been listening to these episodes for a little while, you don't know when I'm going to say Daily Vedantic. And the truth is, I don't know when I'm going to say Daily Vedantic. Today was not one of those days. I went old school with the real deal Daily Vedantic. On a recent episode, we talked about the value of assessment, that nearly all of life's frustrations come down to a misassessment and misguided expectations. The quote that gets said in the ashram quite often is a beautiful line of poetry of, all of life's grumbling is tantamount to, oh, why is a lily not an oak? In other words, why is this person not this other thing that I want them to be? Why is this job not this other thing that I want it to be? All of life's grumbling is tantamount to, why is a lily not an oak? And that episode, that reflection was on the value of assessment, proper assessment to a job, to a career path. Is it in line with your wiring? Is it against your wiring, but it's going to come with some big financial milestone, so you're going to, some big payoff, so you're going to pursue it anyhow? It's about proper assessment. So much of life is about finding a groove through proper assessment, knowing what you're gearing up for and being prepared for it. The other aspect of this, and someone asked after that episode went live, what is the difference between assessment and judgment? You assess people, and maybe you assess someone as toxic, someone that actively seeks destruction in the lives of those around them. Here is the key difference. It's a great question. And that is a phenomenal question, because this philosophy tells us explicitly, do not judge. You might hear the rhyme that it has with so many other world traditions. Do not judge. But here's the difference between assessment and judgment. Assessment has an absence of preference. Judgment might be, this person's toxic. I wish they weren't. This person actively seeks destruction in the lives of people around them. I was in a dinner conversation with friends, and we estimated what ChatGPT would answer, and the number of people the percentage of people that actively kind of sought sabotage and destruction in the lives of people around them. I put it at 3%. I was the lowest of the people at dinner. And some people said 10, some people said 15, some people said 25. The answer that ChatGPT gave, because there's no way to verify if it was the right answer or not, but we could at least guess at what ChatGPT would say, it said 15% of people. Right or wrong? I don't know. It said 15% of people would be characterized as toxic, meaning that they actively seek destruction in the lives around them, like sabotaging. They don't want people to succeed. They're happy when people around them don't succeed. They're not usually the people you'd work next to, because they're the kind of people that don't fall into grooves in their careers, but they are people that we're going to run into in life. Whatever that number is, we have all run into those individuals, and it's a reality of the life that we live. They will be around. Trying to get rid of all people that are like that it's as aimless, fruitless as Ramatirtha, a sage within this philosophy, said, trying to fix the world is like trying to straighten a dog's tail. Just is this world going to have some destructive people in it. And God bless them, because it's their own lives that they destroy more than anyone else's. But The difference between judgment and assessment, as I said, is a lack of preference. You know those machines in the dumps where you can take like old cars and they crumple the car up into a block, like a seemingly impossible small block from a huge 1985 van. They just boom, crunch it up into a block, and then they have that magnet thing that comes over and picks it up and places it over in the yard somewhere. And that's a perfect example where that exists. Doesn't bother you. There's a proper assessment of don't get caught in that vice, in that machine, because that's what it does. Stay away from the perimeter of that machine because there's a chance you could get caught within it. There's no hemming or hawing, no complaints that machine exists. It destroys. It has its role, and you avoid the perimeter around it. That is assessment. Complaining, walking around it, falling in, getting hurt by it, and hemming and hawing about why you wish it didn't exist or why you want to change it, or taking a bat to it to try to get it to stop and to be something else. Late at night going in and putting one of those sticky bombs from, what is it, Saving Private Ryan, on the side of it to try to blow it up and get rid of it in your neighborhood. That is a preference for it to be something that it's not. A preference for it not to be what it is. And that is the equivalent of judgment. Someone is wired to want to destroy. They're like that machine in the junkyard. Assessment is, okay, I'm going to avoid the proximity of that person or that situation, that circumstance. That is assessment. And maybe it's something as innocuous as, wow, that band up on stage, that looks amazing. They've got everybody's attention looking at them. They have influence. But that's not my wiring. I would be just chasing that for money or status, influence, fame, vanity. And those are terrible reasons to chase anything. Fame has never done anything good for anybody that had it. It was the manager of Tom Petty that said that. Knows the producer Rick Rubin, that said, fame has never done any good for anyone that had it. So with assessment, you say, you know what, I'm not going to, this is circumstance. This isn't even like judging people. It's the assessment of, I'm not wired for that. That's not my area of service. I'm not a musically wired individual, so I'm going to avoid that because that might be the soul-crushing, the equivalent of the junkyard destruction machine in your life. The opposite might be true. I'm not going to chase that investment banking gig because of the financial implications. I'm going to surrender into potentially a life of the starving artist because I'm wired to be a musician. That is the way to avoid the soul-crushing version of that destruction machine, the junkyard. The difference of assessment and judgment is a lack of preference. To assess someone or circumstance without preference. To assess someone and say, God, so-and-so lied, and that is not okay, and I'm going to tell everybody. I'm going to join the gossip monger train. And I'm going to speak ill of that person. And I'm going to get everybody to make sure that they learn their lesson and, wrapped in some service, some faux service to your friends to let them know how that person mistreated you, to ward them off off of being friends with that person, but really it's just scratching at indulgence of wanting to make yourself feel like you would never do that. Tear someone down to feel like you are superior. A preference to highlight the virtues that you have, and a preference away from anybody that has any of these vices that you despise. Assessment might be, yeah, this person is untrustworthy quite often, but I can still be around them without falling into the vice of that destruction machine. They're not toxic. They're not trying to destroy people's lives. They just really feel insecure to where they've got to lie about a handful of things. Man, this person that might need an ear right now, might need some help right now. My preference might be to be with the friends that always make me feel good, but this person is in a really, really tough spot. To hell with my preference. The assessment is there. The preference might be there. But it's overcome, and you still go knowingly into that fun jungle gym of an interaction. Not driven by preference. Not driven by delusion. And all of the present awareness assessment that you'd need for such a situation. And that is the difference between assessment and judgment. Clarity is ever present, and preference is irrelevant. That's today's reflection on the Daily Vedantic. We'll see you next time.